Getting the point, point names and functions with Danny Blyth from CICM. Please pause and read this important information. So Heart 1 gets translated as Supreme Spring at CICM and by Giovanni, Highest Spring in Images and Functions and Wiseman, Summit Spring by Debman, Polarity Spring by Dennis Wilmot, Utmost Spring by Arnie Lade in Images and Functions, and Utmost Source by Worsley. So let's look at the characters first of all. So if we look at just the right hand side first of all, Oracle Bone Forms showed just a man between heaven and earth. So the idea of somebody living in balance, or perhaps somebody living out in the elements. Bronze forms were similar, but they added a mouth and sometimes a hand, just 3 fingers, holding some sort of weapon. So really gives the image of living out in the wilds. The left hand side picture just shows a picture of a primitive tree, so equal importance given to the roots and to the stem. And Oracle bone forms look like that. Bronze forms were mostly the same. Occasionally they got rounded off to be more decorative. So altogether, the piece of wood that was extreme or supreme was the ridgepole, and from that we got supreme, utmost, highest, extreme, polar. So quite a few of those utmost, supreme, and the ultimate. So the character hasn't changed much. We've still got our tree, we've got heaven and earth with the man, which has been slightly changed, we've got our mouth, which has been simplified, and our hand holding a weapon, which has been simplified. From its old pronunciation of chi, so Tai Chi diagram, balance of yin and yang, the supreme ultimate, and Tai Chi Chuan, supreme ultimate fist. So if we look at Chuan, a spring, the explanation that's normally given is that the top of this shows a picture of sunshine, the sun, and a mark at the top showing the first rays of the sun. So this character means white, bright, clear, pure. That's probably not right. If you look at old forms, it looks like a bobbin, so probably gets its name from white of cotton. The bottom of the character is our character for water. It looks like this, and early forms just showed the flow of current in a river. So bright, pure, clear water is a spring. It makes sense. However, it's not right. If you look at old forms, the earliest forms of Chuan just showed a picture of a cave, and sometimes a cave with water flowing out of it, hence a spring. And how do we know it was water? Well, in some forms it had little drops of water coming down. So Lesser Seal script had a lovely image for this character of water coming up, hitting the surface, rising out, and then flowing out in all directions. So a nice image for Chuan spring points on our body. It's quite easy to see how that character gradually changed into this character, and how this character became the modern form. So Chuan gives the image, as a spring, gives the image of purity, clarity, rejuvenation, refreshing. It's a powerful name and includes a lot of points. So some of the spring points, we've got Heart 1 Supreme Spring, Pericardium 2 Heavenly Spring, Gallbladder 34 the Yang Mound Spring, Spleen 9 the Yin Mound Spring, Liver 8 the Crooked Spring, Kidney 1 Bubbling Spring, Kidney 5 is Water Spring, and Ren 23 is the Corner Spring. And if that wasn't enough, we've got some alternative names. So Lung 9 is also called the Great Spring, Liver 1 is also called Water Spring, Liver 4 is also called suspended spring. Gallbladder 23 is armpit spring. Kidney 2 rejoices in the name of dragon spring. Triple burner 11, the clear cold spring. Ren 3, jade spring. And heart 2, blue-green spirit spring. So functionally, the supreme or the highest refers to the heart as Lord and Sovereign. The spring, the source of a watercourse. So as this is the first point, it emerges like the supreme spring or polarity spring, suggesting the extreme of the channel. So it makes sense. In terms of the spirit of the point, the spring suggests refreshing, purifying, invigorating, renewing, and the supreme, the heart. So refreshing, purifying, invigorating, renewing, the heart and the spirit gets chi at its source, at its polarity. It gets used when people have lost their way, lost their ability to cope, come across as deeply flat, joyless. They're not enjoying life. They need resurrecting, so it has a similar function to the kidney chest points. Utmost spring and utmost source suggests sort of touching deep reserves, getting to our innermost being. If you lose connection with your heart, then you lose warmth, you lose joy, you lose love and move into coldness, move into isolation, cold-heartedness, disconnection. So this point, I use this for patients whose life has been hard and they've lost the spirit to carry on with it. Sadness over a long period of time. It's stronger than points like Heart 7 for this, although it often gets used alongside Heart 7. So functions: it nourishes heart yin, clears empty heat, and calms the shen. So we use this for mental restlessness, insomnia, anxiety, agitation, sadness, physical symptoms like night sweats, dry mouth and throat. It can also be used for dry phlegm, when there's yin deficiency with phlegm causing lymph gland swellings and scrofula. And it also strengthens and calms the spirit. So, as we said before, sadness, lack of spirit, lack of enthusiasm. Dispersing actions: it clears empty heat, as we said above. It expands and relaxes the chest and removes obstruction from the channel. So as the first point, it can help to flush out the channel and move the chi down the channel. So it gets used for heart B, obstruction, chest pain, shortness of breath, tight chest, feeling of fullness or distension in either the chest or the rib area. It also activates the channel for the same reasons and benefits the arm, relaxes the sinew. So as an entry point, it can be used for paralysis of the arm, shoulder pain, local pain, inability to raise the shoulder, B syndrome, Wei syndrome, atrophy, and for wind stroke, Zhongfeng, so being struck by wind when it affects the arm. And you can tonify or reduce it depending on the nature of the problem. So a useful point on a spirit or a physical level. So we can compare and contrast other points that nourish the heart yin: heart 6, pericardium 6, Rem 14 and 15, heart 7. Other points that expand the chest: lung 1, lung 2, heart 2, heart 9, pericardium 6. So as an entry point, it can be used with heart 9 to flush out the channel, or with spleen 21 if you get full earth and weak fire pulses and there's a blockage or obstruction in that rib area. So it's located at the anterior end of the axillary crease, posterior to pectoralis major. If you feel the hollow of the arm at right angles and move your arm from up to down, it highlights the point. If you press into the axillary artery, press against the arm, you can feel the pulse. And it also follows the line, so if you're not sure where it is, mark up heart 3 and heart 2 and trace the line with the arm to the side up to heart 1. Heart 1 is in the axilla. It's at the top of the axillary fold. It's just posterior to pectoralis major, which I've marked in darker pink here. And if you follow the line of the medial edge of the biceps, it's here at the intersection of those two. There's heart 1. You can feel that hollow if you move the hand at right angles from hand pointing up to hand pointing down. You can feel the hollow opening and closing.